The first Dirt Rally, from way back in 2015, was a hard reset for the rally series from Codemasters, shedding away all the glitz and glamour to bring fans a horribly reliable recreation of the sport, warts and all. 4 years later, and Codemasters is back with Dirt Rally 2.0, a game that's unforgivingly challenging, but one that rewards your time with a tight-knit set of courses, a generous roster of cars, and gameplay that taunts you into one more race every time. It's a big step up for the new instalment of Dirt Rally, and the game more than matches the challenge. While much of the core gameplay extending to the career and free play races remain the same, it's the nuances of the game that really stick out when you play. At the top of this list is the game's track degradation, a devious little feature that carves up tracks, working to make some turns an absolute nightmare. It's something that means your starting place in a race has so much more importance compared to previous outings, with a starting position after 9th leaving a breadcrumb trail of tyre tracks throughout the course for you to follow. Of course, if you try and match that trail pace for pace, you're going to run into a few nasty surprises, with sharp turns usually resulting in you having to slow down pretty dramatically to ride that muddy wave. It's a feature that works brilliantly in crafting that immersive nature of Dirt Rally 2.0, but it's one that also places the game in a very specific spot, making it something that only those in the know will fully appreciate. If you're not a rally fan, then the game feels like it will only serve to frustrate you as you try to learn an unspoken set of rules. That's not to say the game is totally inaccessible for new players, but it's a deep learning curve, one that's more dependent on your patience rather than the game holding your hand. But track degradation isn't the only thing you're going to have to deal with during races, thanks to a revamped physics system that offers up the harsh lessons of gravity at every opportunity. It's a small change that has a massive impact on the basic play of the game, with the car's weight shifting from one side to the other in a way that means you'll be spending a lot of the time during a race trying to keep the car steady. It's something that adds a little extra to each race, affecting the car even through the straightest of roads. And speaking of roads in the game, Dirt Rally 2.0 takes you on a globe-trotting tour of downright beautiful and bastard hard courses to try out. The change-up of location in the rally game has also seen Codemasters revert back to handmade courses rather than the procedurally generated tracks we got in Dirt 4. It means that courses have a little bit more about them this time around, and while we still only have a handful to race through, with track reversals, time of day and weather conditions giving the illusion of more variety, the tracks are all stepped towards mastery rather than something you'll be able to breeze through the first time. The game will take you to the cliff sides in Argentina, New Zealand, Spain and Australia, while the forestry of Poland and the US all offer up enough distracting vistas and lens flare that I happily went over a hill or drove into a tree because my eyes just weren't on the road. There's more to the game than the sprint courses or long haul drives though, with the rallycross modes offering up a selection of cramped stages that blurs one terrain into another. At first glance, you'd be forgiven for thinking that these races were going to be a slice of crazed arcadey fun, but an arcade racer is the last thing these races are, instead serving up a section that's so technical at times that it feels unplayable, or at least unenjoyable. Don't get me wrong, I suspect those of you who know how to custom tune the car to suit these types of races will feel right at home here, with the races letting you play around with a roster of rallycross cars that pack quite a punch. But if you're new to the sport, then much like the regular rally races, the rallycross feels alien, almost as if it's constantly working against you. It's a fine line the game treads here, and while the selection of cars offer up a wonderful mix of classic and modern beasts for you to cruise in, it feels like the rallycross races have a "you must be this high to ride" sign hanging over it. The career mode follows the same premise we've seen before in the Dirt series, as you spend your time racing through different tournaments to earn more cash which you use to buy more cars. Essentially, the career mode is unchanged from the first Dirt Rally and the rest of the Dirt series. It'd be a far more alluring mode if the cars you bought weren't available already outside career mode, but seeing that it can use the entire catalogue of cars from the get-go outside of the career, the whole mode feels more like a training ground rather than a typical career. Dirt Rally 2.0 is certainly a step up from the first, and it's most definitely a departure from the mainline Dirt games. It's a return to an unforgiving yet fair gameplay, one that might look to cater to a small audience on the surface, but stay a while and you'll begin to pick up the idiosyncrasies of the game, balancing how they affect your race while you try, hard as you might, not to crash. It's a return to Codemasters at its very best, and while a few modes, namely the career, could have done with a similar revamping in my opinion, it does little to affect the challenge or fun of the game. Whether you're a racing veteran or a wide-eyed amateur looking for a new racer, Dirt Rally 2.0 is an essential racing game of 2019.